Cheers, and welcome to the tabletop discussion on the Voluntary Virtues Network. With me today is Christy, Jesse, and Matt. And we're going to be discussing free will on this week's discussion. First off, though, this week we're drinking Woot Stout by Stone Brewery. Matt, what do you think?
I think it's very good. It's actually similar to what we were drinking last week, the Doomsday Fail Anniversary Ale, if nobody caught it. Apparently I said it was a little bit low last week.
Doomsday
Fail Anniversary Ale
Doomsday
by
Fail
Agorist Ales.
Anniversary
That
Ale
stuff is good.
by Agorist Ale. Okay.
This is by Stone Brewery, though, in Escondido. It's a stout, Woot Stout.
It's good. It's
very,
really good.
very chocolatey.
Yeah, it's good.
13.5%.
Yeah.
Actually, it's their 2.0. Last year they did they did this for the first time. I think it's better this year though.
What is 2.0? What is that?
The second edition.
The second.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you meant the percentage.
It's actually
alcohol.
Like you said 13.
No, it's 13.5%.
Okay, got it.
It's actually stronger than it was last year.
Very cool. It's good. It's yummy. So it has this brewed right now?
Yes.
Yes, you can get it at Stone and wherever they sell Stone. So free will. Let's start talking about free will. First of all, Jesse, what do you think of free will? Do you think we have free will?
What I think is that I'm trapped behind this table without my free will. No.
That's why you're there and I'm here.
In fact, I'm so unclear about free will that I had to cheat and look it up, but I ran out of time because you called on me to explain free will.
So let's go to Christy then. Christy, what do you think?
Well, no, I was going to say, the famous Hans Hoppe thing. You're born and you come out of some pathogen, and you have free will because you decide what to do. You're in control of yourself. Only you lack certain knowledge to do certain things based on good decision making. So you're born with free will, but you have limitations at the time you're born. Just strictly from a knowledge perspective. If that makes any sense. What do you think, Christy? Is that right?
I don't know if it's right or wrong. I really never have studied the concept of free will. I just grew up with the concept based on Catholic religion that free will is something you should have, and so it's always been something that I believed in, that I should and everybody else should have free will. Whether that doesn't mean life is perfect, it just means you should be able to be your own ruler and destiny. Ruler of your own destiny. So
yeah, I grew up in a Christian environment as well, with the idea that we were created with free will, and that's where I've always stood until recently. I've heard some arguments lately that would make that less likely, I guess. I think Matt could explain it better.
So the concept of free will is something that I'd say Sam Harris has done a good amount explaining why humans do not have free will. The main argument is that the laws of physics bound everything in the universe to them. So human minds and human consciousness are all bound to the laws of physics. So you cannot alter those, so you must follow them. This means that you do not create the thoughts that you are thinking. They arise in your consciousness. So I think a good example would be if you ever practice meditation, then or even if you focus on your mind enough, you will realize that thoughts that are in your mind arise from consciousness and you do not choose to think them. Because to choose to think them, you would have to do so prior to the actual thought. So the mind is something that, like I said, is bound by the laws of the universe, and it must follow those laws. That is the main argument for free will that I have heard. That there is not free will.
I guess I don't agree that you don't have control over the thoughts in your mind. I have been in states where nothing, like really nothingness. And so in that state of nothingness, you can pretty much create anything. So I have control over my next
What's
choice.
a state of nothingness?
Nothing.
I mean, is it like unconsciousness?
No. Yeah. Yes. No. All of it. Yeah. It's nothing. It's at the point which you realize that you are in total control of every thought. We make everything mean something. I mean, I know you know that, Jesse. We are meaning making machines, and when you get to the point where you know that you make up everything, you can really get to nothing. You can really get to the point where it's meaningless. And in that moment of meaningless, yes, you have free will to choose anything. Anything.
Are you talking about like in a Zen Buddhist kind of nirvana kind of?
No, I'm talking about
state?
in my own reality. Well,
So-
no, in any moment of my day, I could hit my empty button and go, oh, that's right, I'm making it all
But
up.
do you believe that you must follow the laws of the universe? Is there a way for you to alter them? Can the human mind alter the laws of the universe?
The
How?
laws of thermodynamics, for instance.
I don't know. I don't know if that's really even relevant to my free will.
Well, if your body, including your mind,
Right?
must follow the laws of physics, in order for you to basically alter
Okay,
the path of the
let's-
universe, you'd have to be able to change the laws.
Let's go back to what is this definition of free will?
Okay. So the definition of free will that I would say,
The power of acting without the consent of necessity.
constraint.
Sorry.
Okay,
Christy,
so
I
what's
still owe me
constraining me from going to nothing and creating whatever I want?
So the laws of physics,
There's
I would
no
say.
okay, what's constraining me? What is really constraining
So
me?
the neurons in your head
Right?
are acting based on the connections that they have. And those connections were formed since birth, or probably even prior to that, of course. You have these connections that are getting input and then creating an output and creating connections based on the input that they get. So they have to be following those laws. So what you think and what you have ever thought is based on input that you've got. So all the received input determines what the output's going to be.
But at any given moment, I have free will to make my next moment.
No, what he's saying is you always
But
have
no,
free
but
will.
no, he's
You-
saying
you
you don't
have-
have free will. He's saying the
you don't have
universe,
free
right?
will.
He's saying you don't have free will.
No, he's saying
I'm
you do
saying
have
it's
free will.
no. He's saying you don't ask him.
I'm definitely saying you don't have free
See,
will.
yeah, see.
I
he's-
don't believe in free will.
Right, and I
do
believe
No,
free will
I
is
do
in
You
the
have free
moment.
will
You
because
yeah.
these neurons or whatever. I mean, that's the physical layer of it, and
Yeah.
the next layer is your conscious.
But what are you defining as conscious? What is the
The
conscious
things that you
experience?
decide based on whatever neuron
So I would-
stuff is going on. I mean,
So-
you pick up the phone, you drink the beer. That's free will.
So I think I could relate this to freedom in a way. And the freedom that we want is the freedom to make a decision based on the past input that you have. So you want to be able to make decisions solely based on what you believe and not through coercion and not somebody else forcing you to make a decision. So I think that is what freedom in the sense that we think of it is. The freedom to take the input that you have and make a decision based on it.
You know what? Even if you're a slave, you still have free will.
You do in the moment.
No, you always have free will, because you're at any instant you're making a
So I'm saying,
decision.
in the moment, you
if
have
your
No,
decision
you
though,
always have free will.
if your decision though is based on past experiences, which are based on past experiences, which are based on the movement of the universe, on the laws of the universe, cause and effect, that kind of thing. Can you really say that you are choosing to act
No.
if those choices are based on the laws of the universe? In other words, somebody with the exact same genetics and the exact same experiences, would somebody with the exact same experiences and the exact same genetics make the exact same choice that you do, or
Probably not.
In an
or is it undetermined?
in an unencumbered environment, who knows? Because it's free, if free will is prevalent, some things
It's
could be
input and
random.
output.
Some things could be random. Some things could be, well, I feel this
Well,
way now.
I mean, everything
Well,
that you make a decision to do
Right, that's
to
the
improve your
choice.
conditions
Right.
is free will.
Well,
That's why I say, even if you're a slave, you still have free will, because you're choosing between a calculated risk and something to improve your
Well, and you're
condition.
choosing
Like,
who
you know,
to
if you're a
be,
slave,
how to be,
okay, if
how
I
to-
run away,
yeah.
what is the probability of getting caught and, experiencing some discomfort, rather? That calculation goes into the decision making of
Right.
not running away,
Right.
right? That's
Not
all
getting
free
beat-
will.
Right, not getting beaten.
That's all
or-
free
right,
will, though.
Sure, I
You
agree.
also have the free will to
Is it free will though, or is it determined by your experiences, which are determined by your experiences in genetics, which are based on physical laws?
so if I were to switch atom for atom with you, and I had all your atoms since birth, and you had all my atoms. Obviously, we were not the same age, but if we were to do that, I would have to make the same decisions as you have, because that I would have gotten the same input. I would have had the same basic genetic. I would have had the same genetics as you. I would have responded exactly the same way, because all the forces of nature have compiled to make you and what you are now. Now, I think that the illusion of free will is definitely very strong. From a conscious perspective, you believe that you have free will. That's just how we perceive it, because we make choices, we have all these decisions. Now, it is not to say that decisions are not important or that we are not deciding things, but it is that we are taking the knowledge we have and making a decision based on it, which I think is very important.
I think there's more randomness to our life than you're giving our lives. I think there's more randomness in the
But
calculations.
even if there is randomness, in
Then
life,
there's no equality between the two beings.
equality.
Well, if it's random, it's not free will then, right?
Why not? Sure.
Our
but you are
Yeah,
not
free
choosing
will.
that, though.
Yeah, I
Christian-
am. I'm allowing my physiology to take. I'm allowing it to, and not choosing something else.
So what is it that you're calling you? What your consciousness, right?
I'm sorry, but I'm zeroed in on this equality stuff. Are trees equal?
Sure, or not. Who cares?
Well, because we equal, we're human beings, and we're all different, and trees are all different too, even though
Right.
they're still trees. So,
So what did
you
you?
never say people are equal. People are not equal.
Did I say people are equal?
Yeah,
What did
we
I
are
say?
all equality. You use the
I
word
didn't
equality. You can't use that word. Shame on you.
We're
I'm
not
not sure.
egalitarian here.
I didn't say no. I
not
said
sure.
no. I'm going back on what it was. He was making it a statement that we're equal because
If we were
we're the
to switch
same
atoms,
molecules,
is that what you're
right?
saying?
Exactly. You're the one who said we were equal.
But-
in
I
the,
said
in
if
the
we were
example,
to
it was the
switch
example,
atoms, yes.
exactly.
Dr.
So
Feynman would
you need
not
to
agree
follow
with
the
that
conversation,
scenario.
Jesse. That's what the conversation was. I'm saying I don't think there could be. I think because there's a lot of randomness in our lives, and even in just the way we think, there's random in the input that comes to us. That I don't think even if everything was the same, that we would be the same or that we would make the same choices.
So there are actually some studies that Sam Harris points out, and they've been done multiple times, where they hook people up to brain imaging devices, and they are able to tell which decision someone is going to make 7 seconds prior to them
Really?
making it.
Oh, that's
Yes.
pretty cool.
You'll have
And
to
they
look
can't find earthquakes before they happen.
Well, what they're showing is
Well,
that
7 seconds for an earthquake
guess
wouldn't be
so.
much
So
time
what
to
they're-
prepare anyway.
what they're showing is that the mind on the unconscious level is actually determining what choice you're going to make, and after it's determined it serves it up to the conscious mind. So if you're going to say that your unconscious mind is actually you making a decision, then you're also saying you choose to make your heart beat, you choose to make yourself breathe, you choose to do a lot of
No,
things
I
which you
think
never
those
actually
things
make a
are
decision.
physiological. I mean, I could bring some spirituality into this. I really actually don't think that our brain is what is. I think we're just an antenna to another realm. So that's really what I truly believe. And science has actually proven that there is another dimension that is funneling information into us.
I would definitely like some.
Okay, I should have.
I've never seen any studies that show
Dr. J, I
something like that.
I need your help.
It says
Go
here that
to lightnews.org and you can find some information.
It says here that Sam Harris believes that free will is an inherently flawed and incoherent concept, even in subjective terms. If he is right, the book will okay, whatever. But so he doesn't agree with free will.
No, absolutely not. He's one of the main proponents that there is no free will. He's got some great videos I would recommend watching on the subject.
So are we fucked?
I've read his book.
do we just give up?
No, see, I don't think...
why do we even have a conversation if we don't have free will?
I was going to try to tie it to voluntarism and why free will isn't... the concept of... the fact that we do not have free will is an important fact to understand, because it makes you understand that we are beings that are getting input and putting out output based on prior knowledge. So if you know that, then you don't need to think, oh, someone is completely screwed and they're never gonna they never have any chance of understanding this.
They can't even. We can't even have an effect on people.
I think
it's all.
I think it makes. I think the idea of no free will has a big impact on a judicial system that we may set up in the future. In that, if there's no free will, how can you hold somebody accountable for something?
Well, you can understand why people do things. That is the main thing about understanding the perspective that there is no free will, I believe. So if you understand that we don't have free will, then you understand you're making decisions based on prior events. And when you understand how something works, you can more fully plan for the future and plan to act in a certain manner.
I guess I'm not negating the fact that we're not making decisions based on the past, but in the moment I have free will. In every moment I have free will.
It's a huge illusion that the mind.
At this moment I can get up and go. I could. What's stopping me? There's nothing stopping me.
It's not something that is stopping you. It is the fact that you can't make a decision prior to making a decision. So in order to think a thought, you would have to decide to think that thought. And if you really pay attention,
that is free will.
Yeah.
But you can't do that though. It's not possible to do that. If you pay attention how the thoughts in your head arise, you will realize that they came out of an abyss. They didn't. It's not something.
They came into my antenna. See,
you can say that, but if you think that's how it works. I would, like I said, I'd like some evidence for it.
Okay, I will actually give that to you.
But I believe that you
maybe in another podcast.
Maybe we'll do that. Actually, that'd be cool.
So you'd have to really decide to do something before deciding to do something. So you can only make decisions based on the input you get. So I think it's very important when it comes to self-efficacy and your belief that you can do something. When somebody is ruled by the state or ruled by a master, is a slave, whatever you want to call them, they aren't making decisions based on rational thought. They're making decisions based on what somebody has told them or what somebody has ordered them to do. So it's much better for someone to take the prior knowledge they have, use that to compute what they plan on doing, and then making a decision, because that is how you can come up with new thought, you can come up with new ideas. If you're just told, handed down information from someone who's a so-called authority, then you are not making decisions based on the input that you get besides just do this, do that.
I disagree.
Okay.
Because that person still has free will, but they're making decisions based on limited information handed down to them.
I agree with Jesse. I don't negate the fact that we're making information based on input from the past, but we have free will to to interpolate, like whatever is.
But what point in your mind, in the decision-making process, are you basically negating the laws of physics, where you would be able to change the outcome? At what point is?
Well, so here's an example. Yesterday I was at this rally thing, with the. You know about that, right?
No, that's at the minimum wage thing.
Yeah, minimum wage.
Right.
Okay, the world knows. They didn't comment on my Facebook. Shame on you.
Oh, no, sorry.
And so the minions of the subjects of the greaseball
the
union bosses,
right? Yeah.
Say minimum wage, right? But they're acting in their own free will.
Right.
They're ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about, in my opinion. Right. But they're acting based on the current knowledge that they have in their head, which is
free will.
Please raise the minimum wage so I can get more money. And that's the limitation to think about at the moment, based on what's in their mind.
And they actually think it's okay to take money.
So
from unemployed.
But those are the limitations on them. Are the things that the inputs they're getting? Those are the limitations.
It's based on the knowledge that they have at that present moment.
Yeah, and that is exactly where there is no free will, because you only have that knowledge.
But what if I came up to them and was able to have a conversation with them that then had them look at it a different way?
Then that
would have more input for them.
Does that suddenly mean that they have more free will?
No, I think they had free will to think the way that they did before with the bad input.
Right.
But
they had bad input and now they have good input.
But in the decision-making process, though,
the free will has nothing to do with right. The free will has nothing to do with right or wrong.
Absolutely not.
Right. It has nothing
It's not.
It just means I can choose based on my
choosing
input.
is not free will either.
Choosing is free will, because that's the definition of free will.
I agree.
But you can only make a decision, a choice, based on the input that you have in the past.
Right.
And you cannot change the input you have gotten. You can't. At no point can you.
Well, it's based on that and your computing ability based on genetics.
So at no point in the decision-making process would you be able to change that. At no point can you change the input that you've received, or can you change the output that
I am a Wiccan, so.
I thought you gave
I don't think that really applies to this conversation.
Maybe magic. It does.
Maybe it does. But
free will is magic,
it's
Matt.
all magic.
it's just magic.
So
okay, here we go.
I did that to you so you would be all discombobulated.
Oh, I had something.
Didn't work.
Yeah, it worked.
I think you got kind of combobulated.
I have an interesting topic. Does neuroscience refute free will?
Yes, that's what Sam Harris has. See, we should have watched this video.
I guess we should have
In
educated
the above quote
ourselves
from
first.
King Lear, we find a description
I
of
think we
those
should
who
have
thought
watched it.
That actually
denied
might
free
be
will and personal
That's what I wanted to
responsibility.
do, but you guys are like, let's just have a conversation.
Blaming
without
their
doing research.
wrongdoings on interpretations
didn't-
divine and planetary.
I didn't have the input that you said you wanted to do that.
Matt, we just expected you to do all the research.
Well, I did plenty, but you didn't have plenty of time to explain
I
it.
still believe in free will. I still believe in the concept. Okay, it's a concept in my mind of being able to be self-determined. All right, no matter what input is coming my way, I get to choose.
Which is where I'd like to tie it to voluntarism.
Okay, got it. Good.
So whether we have free will or not, which obviously is debatable, I'd like to say that the freedom comes from the fact that you are able to take the information that you have from the past and make a decision based on it. Now, where I'd say we don't have free will on that is that in no part of that are you able to change the past information that you've got in order to make an input or an output for the future. So it's also very important to know yourself and to know how the mind works in order to come up with a conclusion on how to live your life and what actions to take.
Well, what about the studies that were done to show that people who believe that there's no free will act more immorally?
Immorally?
Yeah.
Immorally.
They've done studies of showing that people don't believe in free will act more immorally. Now, I think the studies might have been somewhat flawed, and I'm not sure about exactly how they were run. But
Well, there was one that was set up where people were given a test and told and shown a video that explained that they had no free will, and they were to take payment
for themselves,
right,
which was supposed to be a certain amount, and people who were told that they did not have free will took more than that amount.
Right.
So
whereas people who were told that they had free will were more likely to take more likely to be honest about,
which is why I think
answers.
it's important to explain the effects of not having free will and what that would actually mean for people, which I think would
Do you
mean,
have to believe you don't have free will in order for this to occur? The effects of not having free will?
well, if you believe you don't have free will, I think it's important to understand the consequences of such an idea. So, for instance, I think we touched on slightly earlier, if you believe that someone does not have free will, and if you were to change atom for atom with them, you would have made the same decisions, then you could look at somebody who's committed some
you could be more
horrendous
empathetic.
crime. There'd be more empathy. So you'd understand that if I were to get the same input as them, then I would have acted in the same manner.
Maybe.
But if you were to have the same life experience as somebody, you were to have the exact same life, same everything,
same genetics,
the same universe would have played out how it did. If that were to happen, you would have acted in the same manner.
Okay, I want to read the last paragraph of an article on Mises about their arguments for determination are yet another attempt to abolish laws as abstract rules that apply to everyone equally. Instead, the state and its scientific experts will get to decide whether a person will be harmful to society or not in order to maximize future welfare in such cases. To do so, whatever those in power will do, the law itself becomes meaningless, and instead of being general rules that protect individual liberty in the hands of Green and Cohen and in the name of neuroscience, it will be used as a tool for state interventionism in arbitrary judgments to destroy liberty.
Isn't that what happens now?
So
to say that you need state interventionism to help you guide your way to a better life. Is that an accurate conclusion for that? You don't have free will, you need the state?
I definitely don't believe that.
As a
I think
leadership?
Yeah, I think you have the same problem whether you have free will or not, because whether we have free will or not, those running the state would be in the same position as we are. So
because they're humans, and we're humans, and they're humans.
Exactly. So if we don't have free will, then they don't have free will either. And so how can they be any better than you to make your decisions?
It must be that.
I think it's irrelevant, really, because I think if we don't have free will and you understand that passing on good ideas is the way that society becomes a better place.
Well, that's the nature of the universe, I think, is the...
Good ideas are passed along.
Well, yeah, the passage of information.
And I actually think the passage of information erases past. You say you can't change the past, but I do think you can change the past by understanding it's not a real past. It's not. It was.
So it's 1984 we're talking here?
It's a past that's irrelevant. It was. You find that there's a whole new thing. It was based on.
Is this newspeak?
It was based on bad information. So you can change the past by making it irrelevant.
But that's only changing the future. You can't change the past.
Under the
chest,
you
the
can
past
the past, but the perception of the past can change, and that's all we have. That's all we have, anyways.
But that's all we
have, anyways.
We'll drink to the present.
Well, cheers.
We will drink to that.
And you know what,
That was
guys?
an
This
interesting
was
conversation. I think we're gonna
empty
need
when
to-
I started.
We will drink to an empty cup.
Mine was empty to begin with.
Under the chestnut tree, I sold you and you sold me.
What?
What are you talking about?
You know what? We forgot to get to robot sex again.
No.
Next week.
Next week,
Chestnut.
next week, robot sex.
Okay.